What's the difference between AWS and Azure servers?
Really, the big thing is deployability and cross-compatibility between different platforms that different services have. So a big thing with Microsoft is Microsoft integrates their cloud servers into their platform. And they will actually let you work with other, unlike AWS, they just don't want to play well with others.
Hello world, I'm your host, Data Mining Mike, and on today's podcast, we're going to talk to our guest, Nathan Witherow. Nathan is an information technology expert with ITEC and is currently serving as a soldier in the U.S. Army. We cover great business tips that will increase your knowledge of servers, cybersecurity, and data. But first, AI news. Regworm. If you compile text in a reg database for generative AI, then look out for Regworm, or Morris Worm2, created by Cornell University and the Isreali Defense Department. Regworm infects all reg databases on a generative AI network and prompts it to spam or be malicious given updated information. Live.
My name is Nathan. I am a business owner and I do IT consulting here in Spokane Valley. We were primarily based out of here in Washington, and then we do some work up in Canada. So ITEC is International Technology Education and Consulting. ITEC goal is to help companies find the right services for them for to meet their technology needs. So we work with companies here in the U.S. and internationally. We're actually currently in the process of possibly bringing in a company based in the U.K. right now, actually. So that's what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot in the IT space. We like to help companies find the next step for their IT space and what will help fit them the best.
So how'd you get started?
I got started by working in IT in high school. I was a part of my high school's FBLA program. I did the information technology quiz competition for FBLA, and I just fell in love with it. I ended up getting my first certification in high school, which is the CompTIA A+. Then from there, I've just been in love with IT. I have a love for computers, and I just have a love for helping people get things fixed and help make things better.
Well, good. So how did you get started in ITEC?
So ITEC was actually a formation of the old brand, which is actually WSK12, which is only education technology focused. Mm-hmm. We actually just rebranded in the last few months, and we it just was not sounding the best, so we decided to go for a rebranding, and with that we were able to open our doors to helping other clients, helping other spaces within the business-to-business world, and just overall helping in general, and able to learn more technologies. Because I moved away from education, I've been able to learn different technologies. I've learned Oracle finally, which I know that sounds really old, but I learned Oracle finally, and I'm learning SAP right now as we speak. And I've just been able to learn different protocols and different types of technology since moving away from just focusing on the education space.
Good. That's a really important thing. So you've been quite the self-starter.
Yes, and I actually nobody in my family's ever worked in IT. I'm actually the first one. I actually fell in love with it because my group of friends in high school, and they were the reason that I got started.
Good. So what are some main differences that you've noticed between the Azure and AWS servers?
So what I've noticed with Azure is I can deploy a program on an Azure server and allow it to work with our Microsoft Endpoint Managed computers. As of right now, I am currently playing around with Microsoft's Endpoint Manager for our mobile device management, or MDM. For our Azure allows me to integrate in with other Microsoft products. With AWS, I can't do that because Amazon doesn't want you hosting MDMs and stuff like that on their platform. So Amazon just locks down their platforms a lot. And I tried And a few weeks ago, I was actually playing around with AWS to just see if I can get Cloud Sync set up with AWS into Microsoft 365 system without Amazon locks you down on that end. So they just don't want to play well with others.
Dang. So
Yeah.
what are some other differences between the servers?
A big one is pricing. Azure, for students, actually has a $300 credit that they give you when you're starting out to play around with Azure and to learn. AWS just gives you what's called free tier, which is like their low-end products, and it just does not give you, I guess, the amount of what you need to be able to learn how to use the product. So that's a big thing, is you can actually learn how to use Azure, and they give you a set amount of money to play around with, so that way you can actually learn the product. But AWS, you have to take like one of their courses and stuff like that. But yes, that's a good thing, take their courses, but AWS also has courses, but they don't lock you down like AWS does.
So AWS has proprietary courses because technology trains the user.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. So what other differences have you noticed between the two platforms?
Another thing I noticed is that you just can't. There's customer service in general. When I had billing problems, stuff like that, I reached out to Microsoft and they've gotten back to me in like 5-10 minutes. With AWS, I can reach out on a Monday morning. I could not hear back till probably Wednesday or Thursday at some point, depending. Because with Microsoft, you get support included in your plan. With AWS, you can be paying lots of extra money.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you were a small business, say less than 100 employees, what would be the better option?
Definitely Azure, because with Azure, you can integrate into the Microsoft 365 suite and be able to host your emails and all that stuff for your employees in Microsoft's platform in general.
Yeah. Cool. So if you were a bigger company than maybe AWS, or what are your thoughts on that?
Really just depends. It depends on price points and stuff like that. Because I've actually did a little bit of investigating, and actually surprisingly, majority of companies actually use Microsoft over AWS for hosting their cloud platforms or hosting their websites, because it can just be easier. Yes, a lot of companies run their outside stuff on AWS. Like, if I remember right, Netflix is running off of AWS. But if you're wanting to host like internal stuff, depends on what best fits you. I have not found a common thread with enterprise. I used to work for Amazon, so I can say that AWS is, I've played around with their internal stuff for they're playing around with their different products and stuff like that they have, especially using AWS, but I have not played around with with stuff for bigger companies, unfortunately.
Interesting. So how did you get started in Amazon?
Actually, I started there when I turned 18. I started as an FC, as a fulfillment center associate, as a tier 1, and then I actually went through their IT program that they have available for associates through Career Choice.
Gotcha. So you started off just as a grunt on the floor, working in the fulfillment center, and then you moved on to bigger and better. So how did you work up?
Asking around, asking questions. When I first started, they did not really make Career Choice well known, because I started at a smaller facility. But if you ask questions and you do, I guess, some research, there will be you can get some more answers, stuff like that. So the big thing was looking around, asking questions, different people, and seeing what options were available.
Cool. Oh, could you kind of lift it up off the... Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So let's see here. Is there a big difference that you want people to know about with Azure or AWS?
I guess the big thing is just knowing the product, knowing what you can and cannot do with it, and just knowing how they implement in with other platforms would be a good thing to know.
Cool. So how did you get your start in ITEC? So you mentioned some buddies from high school, and then what?
I got my start by just putting myself out there, calling around, walking around to other businesses in my old town in Wisconsin where I used to live, and just seeing how we could help assist them. We originally were working just a few of us. I was just helping small mom and pops fix their computers and stuff like that. And then I was able to move up in the space. So starting at the bottom.
CompTIA is good.
Yes, it is a very, very good certification to start with. The A+ I personally started with. It's a good get your foot in the door certification, then you're able to work your way up. I've actually taken the Network Plus and the Security Plus as well, and they're actually big certifications to have because it shows it's your credibility and it shows what you're actually what you've actually succeeded with. Gotcha. And that you have the knowledge, because CompTIA is just not fill in the blank. There's actual answering involved that you have to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree. When I was in high school, there was C++. Or no, sorry, that's a programming language that's going out of style now because the Biden administration, because it's too old and it has too many vulnerabilities, C++. But no, it was called C+ certification, which I conflated when I got out of the military and went back to college. And I thought C, the programming language, or C++ was like, oh, that's what computer science is. Because in my mind in high school, there was no coding. And now when I went back to college, everybody's coding.
Yep. And coding is actually a big thing. And I dabbled in it a little bit. And coding is a big thing to know, especially if you want to work in the tech space, or just something good for other people in the tech space to know. So that way it shows that they have the diversification of skills.
And you learned Oracle.
Yes. Oracle is a fun platform to play around with. I've took one of their trainings about 6 months ago. I'm still learning it. It's a fun platform. It's still a work in progress right now. I'll say that much.
Good. So talk about the world of cybersecurity.
So cybersecurity is a big thing right now.
No, keep going. So
cybersecurity is a big thing right now, especially with what's been going on in recent days. Heck, we just had the AT&T problem last week. Haven't heard.
Oh, talk about that.
So AT&T had an outage last week. As of right now, they're saying it's not cybersecurity related, but they don't know what happened yet, and they've been pretty
like a power outage.
They don't know.
Interesting.
There's also the same day as the solar flare, but who knows?
Interesting.
Yes, but cybersecurity is a big thing right now. It's important for any business to have cybersecurity in place, especially strong passwords, strong multi-factor authentication. It's just a few ways that you can protect yourself. There's people out there that are looking to do harm. Unfortunately, that is the day and age that we are in, is that people will do harm for a living, especially scammers and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I know. I fell victim to one, whoever the hell he is out there, and ordered pizza from Chicago, Illinois. You know who you are if you are that guy, that scammer, but you'll be caught. Well, that's the thing. When it happened to me, I got alerted from the bank, and they're like, this is possible thing, and I didn't respond to it in time because I was sleeping and I didn't really care, and they let it go through.
Oh.
Yeah. But they refunded it, but still it sucked because I had to get a whole new debit card and everything.
Yeah. And
then have to change all that for all the billing stuff, and it made me think about I was talking to the lady at the teller at the bank, and she was like, well, they do this a lot with fast food. They spend money on fast food.
Unfortunately, fast food is one of the easiest places to go to because they just stick your card in. If you're going through the drive-thru, they don't require a PIN or anything like that. But in other countries, they actually require you they actually hand you the payment machine in other countries, which is actually kind of weird.
Well, I thought about it could have been anywhere where they got my card info. It could have been a Google Chrome extension. It could have been the air pump that I use.
Yep.
Filling up air filling up air at the tires, because that's like, I thought of that. I'm like, man, that's kind of like out of the angle of the camera. The
Yep.
air pump. All the cameras are facing the pumps.
And that's actually another thing to watch out for, as well as skimmers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. Watching out for skimmers or watching out for unknown files on your computer. That's a big thing. Is if something looks out of the ordinary, question it, because it could be one of those cybersecurity things where they can gain vulnerable information off of you. They could gain information like your social or unfortunately your credit card number, but at the same time, thankfully they got resolved for you. But yeah, skimmers is a big one. And from what I remember, they've been able to clone chips and stuff like that. But the chip only has a one-time authorization code. That's it. And there's always a rolling cycle of authorization codes. It's never going to be the same one. With your mag stripe, on the other hand, is different, because that one, it's just the same authorization code every time.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That is really freaking cool. What else? I didn't know about that. Yeah, I didn't know that. So your mag strip is way more of a vulnerability than your chip.
Correct, because your mag strip could have the possibility of being skimmed, because all it is just a little black bar on the back. Anybody could just easily steal your card from you and buy a mag stripe reader for like $10-20 off of Amazon or eBay or something like that. Swipe it, have all your info, and before you even notice that your card is gone, they'll have your name, if I remember right, your address is sometimes even associated on your card, so that way it knows the right info for the person.
Yeah. And the lady at the bank, she said, whoever is doing this, they're making it look like they are physically there making the purchase. And I'm like, they probably are physically there, and they probably have. It's probably somebody who goes and hits up, because it was kind of, now I think about it, a lot of the air pumps were down at the same time. I'm like, interesting. Because I think maybe they got word that, hey, somebody's running a skimmer on these pumps. And what's crazy is I've had people try to hustle me. I had this one guy who's tried hustling me here in Spokane Valley, and my brother-in-law in Wenatchee. Same dude, because he gets around.
Weird.
Because he's this, he pretends to be from the UAE or wherever he says he's from, and he has his family in the back, so he's running his whole family with the con. And he rolls down the window and he says, sir, and he holds out his gold ring, and he tries to get you to, and it's like, before you know it, you have his gold ring in his hand, and then he's trying to get you to give him money for his gold ring. I'm like, what the hell? Just go to a pawn shop, man. And then, but I spoke his language. Spoke his language. He claimed to be UAE, and I'm like, showing me his family. I'm like, oh, well, I speak Arabic.
Yeah.
And so I just looked at the ring and I tossed it back at him, and I said, Alibaba, which means thief. And he took the hell off.
So he knew that you knew.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, that's a big thing right now is a lot of our veterans are coming home and they know Arabic. And they're thankfully smart enough to know this stuff. And it's a big thing that they're going to scammers try to pull this stuff. Especially, I hate to throw out other countries, but Nigeria and India, those are two countries that have.
They did it to themselves. They spam the world to let the world know that they are the biggest spam cons, like the Nigerian prince.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Especially the catfishers out there.
Yeah, the catfishers. Absolutely. And that's, it's crazy because they keep doing it because they have no reason to stop. They'll just go to another country. And what's crazy is some of these scammers, they will come to the U.S., marry white women, have kids. They usually run a nonprofit to try to do whatever they say they're going to do in this country that they hail from. But a lot of them, when they're running this particular con, take the money, leave the wife and kids in America, move back to the country, and live like a king.
Isn't there a name for that? Oh, wait, it's money laundering. That happens a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of money laundering too.
I think what you just described is getting the money legitimate, or finding a way to get rid of the money. And, well, money laundering and, God, what's the other word for it? Moving the money so it just disappears like it never was there.
Oh, got you. Like, have you ever watched the show Ozarks?
Yes.
Yeah. No, in this particular case, it's not that.
Okay.
It's been 20 minutes. So I'm going to turn it off. Bye, guys. And plus, everybody, like, for some reason, everybody feels better when there's no camera on them.
Right.
But then again, most of your, well, how much of your waking day do you think you're under surveillance?
A good majority of it, actually.
How much? Like, what percent?
70, 80% at least, or
78?
70, 80% at least. Everybody has one of these.
Yeah.
Everybody has a smartphone. They
That's true.
could just easily turn on their camera, and there you go. There's videos all over the place, especially kids doing stupid stuff in schools and stuff like that, especially the challenges, and I say that with quotes, that happened when I was in high school, of kids taking the sinks and stuff like that out of the
Eating
bathroom.
Tide Pods?
The Tide Pod Challenge? Yeah.
Stupid fucking way to die.
I know. So we're in the 21st century. We're in 2024. Everybody has a cell phone with a camera. Anybody's easily able to record you nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. And that's unfortunately how it is, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. So, talk about your time founding ITEC.
So started originally in 2018, just we were really, really small for a little bit. Ended up going non-existent in 2022 when I ended up going to basic and AIT. When I was...
What's AIT?
Advanced Individualized Training for the Army.
Oh, yeah, duh. Fuck. I'm sorry. I'm bouncing around too many damn things in my head in acronyms. Because I thought, I was like, AIT, does this have to do with AWS? No. That was my first thought. I'm like, oh, AIT, Advanced Infantry Training for the Army.
Individualized.
Yes, Advanced Individualized Training. Yes. So what's your MOS?
25 Bravo, Information Technology Specialist.
Good.
So
This is a good relatable thing that you... And thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you for yours, Mike.
Yep. Yeah. So tell me, man, I keep fucking up so many people. But I'm happy, though, to interview particularly veterans and people who serve, because that's important to me.
Definitely.
More than, like... The last two guests were veterans. One was Josh Morrow. He was the PsyOps guy. And then before him was the Apache helicopter dude, Ian Cosby. So that was cool. So talk about what's the Army teaching now for InfoSec?
So they're actually teaching a lot of civilian certifications.
Okay.
As
they should.
I got my A+ when I was in.
Mm-hmm.
They actually paid for me to get my Security Plus when I was at AIT. So they're teaching a lot of the civilian certifications, because it's civilians that are going after the systems, and it's other countries as well. Mm-hmm. So they're teaching the information to prevent certain things from happening, because we have a certain adversary 20 miles off our coast up in Alaska that can easily do anything any day they want. And they're teaching ways of how this stuff happens. They're using case studies to show this has happened. This is how they penetrated these systems, and they're teaching ways to prevent this kind of stuff. I can't go into too many details just because of security clearance and classifications and stuff like that. But there's some stuff that they're teaching ways to make sure that stuff is not penetrated. They're trying to prevent it before it starts. So they're using intelligence to find the information and make sure that stuff is not done. And they're just trying to prevent it in general. Then they're also teaching you how to hack in general, which is actually really cool nowadays.
Yeah, that's really fucking sexy. I think that's a really sexy job. And looking back, that is fucking excellent. What a great program you chose to go and do.
I know. The 25 Bravo program is actually a good program. There's actually a similar MLS called a signal support specialist, which just deals with radios and wiring, stuff like that. But they also learn how to hack and do the system penetration and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun, and there's good stuff now available, stuff like that. So the training's definitely changed from what I heard was happening back in like the 90s, stuff like that. So.
Oh, it certainly has. It is fundamentally changed, and they need to. And I'm glad they're actually doing that, because that's logical that they're teaching that sort of force protection, red team, blue team stuff if they're doing that or whatever. But it's all so talk about, how does the command structure work in the Army for InfoSec? So
InfoSec is your basic signal units, and then you have your brigade, your battalion brigade, and then you have trying to remember what Cybercom, which is cybersecurity command. But within that command, there's different drop-down commands as well, and then there's Big Army in general, which you also have Tech Command. I'm trying to remember the command that's based out of Fort Knox. HRCom is also a part of the technology command now. They're now saying that human resources, I guess, is a part of the technology component. Still trying to figure out how that falls into each other, but the Army's actually changed it a little bit to where it now falls into that stuff. So everything is connected with technology, and you can have all units technically fall under the technology command, because every unit has their own technology person.
Interesting. I like it. I think it's cool. I've had some buddies that were just learning. Well, the Marine Corps is always behind.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just learning. I don't even think they were learning hacking or anything like that. I'm not sure what they're learning. But that is one nice thing about the military, is if you do have options for additional education, if you wanted to pursue the world of, certifications.
Yeah.
And I'm new to the world. I'm not even in the world of hacking, but I think that it's sexier than artificial intelligence, knowing what I know about artificial intelligence and machine learning, because I don't think it's that. I guess I'm a grass is always greener on the other side person.
Definitely. I put it around AI a little bit. I personally think hacking's really cool, because you can learn the vulnerabilities, and then you can learn how to prevent them, which is really cool.
Have you played Try Hack Me?
I have not.
Oh, cool. That's what we do at the hacking thing on Wednesday. They play Try Hack Me, and then they play, oh God, we just played it, Backdoors and Breaches.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of that game. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but for hacking.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it's gamified. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I think it's cool, because I learn a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, so what other stuff do you think is cool in the world? What passion do you think is the coolest in the world of cybersecurity? What's your biggest hot button thing?
Ooh. People not having strong passwords. You will not believe the amount of accounts, because I've had a company reach out to me and be like, hey, we would like you to penetration test us and try to figure out our vulnerable spots. People not using two-factor authentication, people not using strong passwords. Or a big thing as well is somebody can call T-Mobile and switch over my SIM card if they really want to another phone, and they can get into my phone by using SMS authentication. People not using things like authenticator apps or YubiKeys to prevent people from getting into their systems is crazy. Is that they don't? Is that, I guess, the education is not out there telling people what needs to be done.
You're the second person who said that now about people just like, because I thought about it. I probably did it. It was my phone right there. Like, they do it all the time at networking events. They leave their phones on the table or at a place or a party, and they go talking to other people, and then they find their phone later, or all those missing phones. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to think about it.
Yeah. The phone thing's a big thing as well. It's because I think with certain model Androids, older ones, by the way, you can just clone it by tapping it to something. Or with the micro USB Android, you don't even need to enter in a password to brute force into it. You can just plug it in your computer, and like 5 minutes later, you're done. You can do that without somebody noticing if they just leave their phone sitting around for a while. It's crazy what can be done now.
That's cool. Let's talk about some pen testing stories.
Oh, God. Penetration testing I've done. I did one with a Cisco network probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was learning how to pen test, and the high school I was going to, they were switching from Cisco over to Aruba at the time. So
they're teaching how to pen test in high school?
This was something that our IT department let us do since I was a part of the internship.
That's fucking awesome. Good for them.
Yeah. Our IT guy was pretty cool. The
That
IT
is
guy
awesome.
before him was not the coolest and was like, yeah, no, we're not going to let you guys get a hold of the old hardware. But they let us, when we got a hold of the old hardware, they let us pen test and stuff like that. And we were able to find a vulnerability for a admin password that was never reset. And you know how they tell you whenever you get new equipment to reset the admin password? That wasn't done. So it's very, very easy to figure out the vulnerabilities. I always start with the most common ones and then work my way to the hardest ones, because you never know what somebody could have done. They could have just not reset a password. It's like, oh, it could be admin as the password. It's so bad. Yeah,
that is an interesting thing, because the Try Hack Me game, it goes through those steps and it teaches you the older vulnerabilities that people don't think about, because that's how you can get in. That's awesome. So what other pen test stories have you done?
I haven't done a lot of pen testing. I've done a little bit. I've pen tested my own server. I hate to admit that, but I was bored and I put my server on a completely separate network and I got into it. I actually discovered a vulnerability with SFTP that I did not realize that I had turned on. I discovered a vulnerability with ports that were turned on that were not supposed to be turned on. So porting into a device and dropping files into it is a big thing. People can do that. So they can discover vulnerable ports and they can drop different files into the device, or just do a DDoS attack based off of open ports. So DDoSing is something I've done, just playing around with it. And it's actually kind of crazy how easy it is to DDoS, and just learning how to prevent it is a big thing. But at the same time, it's like you could take whole companies that gotten taken down by DDoS attacks, and it's crazy what can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cool. I learn about industries through the data. And so I just created a blog article too. It's called How to Detect Malware with a Random Forest. And I should send you that link to the blog article. But yeah, so are you familiar with the Systems Information Emergency Management?
A little bit.
Yeah, the SIEM. I just learned about it. Okay, so everything I'm learning, I'm just learning about.
Yep.
So in this systems information SIEM,
SIEM.
yeah, because I learned about it, the backdoors and breachers thing, but it just so happened that the data I had was SIEM data for a con log, CONN log.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
One of like 20 different logs that feed into the SIEM, which is like the all-seeing network center, intelligence center, I guess.
Yeah.
And so now my goal, my project is to make predictive models for malware on every single one of those.
Oh,
logs.
okay, nice. So that we can tell what could happen next. That's a good thing, actually.
Yeah, it seems like I wouldn't say at this point it's a very predictive model. It's just a good classification model.
Yep.
Because it's not going to be like, oh, we're going to, because it does have timeline information. So like maybe if I plotted the timeline information and I had enough of it, I could get a lot. But I'm learning about things like a proto and UTP and UDP and TCP.
Yep. UTP and TCP are a big way that people can get in the networks too, because if a certain UTP or TCP port is on, you can get access to all the devices on the network. And if they have file sharing turned on those specific devices, drop goes the malware, drop goes the ransomware, and there goes the whole network. It's like
even through Mac airdrops.
I think Apple actually has that disabled. I think Apple actually has certain specifications in place. Cause I believe with that uses Bluetooth, if I remember right.
I mean, it lets me know like someone's trying to send you a file.
That one,
I have to accept it.
Apple's a little bit different because Apple actually has their stuff locked down. That's another thing, actually, is Apple just cut their program with the federal government, or with the Department of the Army, saying that they are no longer allowed to use their devices because the federal government's not even that secure.
Yeah.
Apple's more secure than the federal government.
Well, I believe it. You know what? It's crazy. It's funny, too, about the world of data in Apple, because there was these two terrorist couple, man, woman, in San Bernardino, like years ago now, and they shot up. It was a mass shooter. They were mass shooting, but it was a terrorist act because they were doing it for law and whatnot. And the federal government, the FBI, was trying to get the data from their phones, but Apple refused to give them the data. But it was funny because what Apple was doing was just a marketing ploy, because what they're saying is, yeah, we don't give away your data, we sell your data.
Yeah.
We don't give it away.
That's what they do. They sell your data.
So you need to get a subscription like everybody else, Mr. Government. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting.
Heck, even the government sells your data nowadays. You know that box at the DOT they have to select at the DMV? You're getting your license that says, "Do not sell my data." Even they sell your data nowadays.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can find out like where somebody was driving through, what is it?
Waze.
No, Google geolocation API.
Oh, yeah.
So you can just pull API on them, and for $5 a month through Google, you can find out if people have been speeding.
Unfortunately, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you could really fuck with somebody. Like, hey, you're speeding. Like, a lot of people. It's just... And it's almost like... when that was... And the deeper I think on it, Google's logo or the slogan for the longest time was "Don't be evil," which they just, I don't know what it is now.
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So back in 2018, you had the idea for ITEC. Did you know like what services you would start off providing?
My primary thing at the time was just Microsoft 365. That was the primary thing that I knew at the time. That was before I started venturing into other things, but deploying Microsoft 365 for people and helping businesses with their Microsoft 365 deployment, moving over from Google, because actually spreading right now, a lot of companies are actually making the jump from Google Workspaces over to Microsoft 365 because it's just easier platform to use, especially with the efficiency, stuff like that. But nowadays, there's companies that are combining Google and Microsoft. It's really weird, I'll tell you that much. But our primary thing was Microsoft 365 deployment, helping companies migrate from one service to the other, and that's primarily all we got started with. Now we do a lot more.
Cool. So you started off in the Midwest, in Wisconsin.
Correct.
Good, because I was going to mess it up with like Michigan, but I knew it started with a W. Daniel Tosh, I don't know if you know him. He's a comedian. He said that the Midwest is where dreams go to die.
Yes, they do.
So at least you moved here to the West Coast.
At least I'm from here.
Yeah, at least you moved back. So yeah, that's something. So you moved to Wisconsin.
Military moved my family. We were originally at Fort Lawton before they closed it.
Oh, okay.
And then we went to Fort Missoula. And they closed. And then Fort Missoula turned into the reserve station there, so we went to Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. Both my parents were reservists.
Cool. So you're keeping the Army tradition alive.
A little bit.
Well, it's a great thing, and they say it's almost now like a family thing, and the Student Veterans of America Association that I'm loosely associated. I used to be the vice president, for God's sake. But if it wasn't for the GI Bill, America wouldn't have a middle class.
Nope.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, at least you're doing that. So when you first started off, you were like, I'm just gonna go beat my feet around and knock on doors on all these local businesses, which is a really good way to do it, dude. Oh, yeah. Nobody does that anymore. Nobody goes and physically knocks on doors. Like I talk to all these salesmen all the time that are traditionally door-to-door salesmen, and they don't even do that.
Yeah, no, that's the way that you do it in small town Wisconsin.
So I think it's the best way to do it, period. Even if you're gonna like go and be a politician, that's the cheapest way to do it, is just spend your time knocking on doors and getting people to subscribe and drive traffic. You're
dealing with people's data. It's good to put a name to the face.
That's
a big thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing to do. So have you considered the world of government contracts?
Playing around with that idea right now. I am currently in the process of looking into a few. As right now, though, I believe there will be a couple conflicts of interest with companies. I'm currently actually still working for Amazon. I'm part-time just for benefits. Problem is, working for them, I cannot currently obtain government contracts due to Amazon holding multiple government contracts with AWS and stuff like that. So once I'm out of there, it'll be something I'm actually interested in looking into. And it's a big world in federal government contracts, especially with the Department of the Army just renewed theirs for what they're now calling Army 365 with a tech firm out of Virginia, I think, that is doing their integration for Microsoft 365, but on the government cloud. And surprisingly, federal government's using Google Workspaces now. So government contracts can be a big thing. It's something I'm looking into, but nothing yet.
Yeah, that's been something I've been obsessing over since I came across Washington State IT contract purchasing behavior. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So if you focus on the end user, if you do put in a bid, you say, ITEC, we focus on the end user, and we're part of a cooperative purchase. Please give us a 5-year contract. And they'll give you a 5-year contract, 75%.
That right there is good money.
Yeah.
Especially federal and state contracts are good money right there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I just got back from this last week. It was really cool. I had to cut out of it quick because I had another podcast and the guest came early, but that's all right. But I'm going to go to the next one. They call it the Small Business Boot Camp. And I'm meeting with one of the guys. But either way, yeah, it goes into the world of government contracting bids and how to get that. And there is so much you can do. It's almost like free money. You just gotta go apply for it.
Yeah, and it's depending on what the contract says and stuff like that. It could be 1-2 hours a month, and you're pocketing a lot of money. And
well, you could just be a consultant, and just going through the data set. A lot of these, except for the big ones, like for the smaller ones, they're just consultants. There was like ones for the department, and one of these departments was paying out some consultant. They were paying money out to 2050 for a job board, which no one's posted a job on in like 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, like you just find pure fraud and waste in there, and it's like, hey. Which is a good data set too, because you can take that and be like, hey, company I'm trying to apply for, I found this. So you should maybe consider hiring me.
That's actually a really good thing to know, especially passing around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I might actually have to start getting into data mining a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, I mine it all, and I make little articles. Just gotta read them.
Nice.
On everything I find. But that is another thing I'm going to do is when I target the next contract, when I get ready for bidding, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look. Maybe I should just look for the one with the most shady contracts given and try to put in bids for them. Like, look, I found all this.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably find a couple over at the state of Washington in general, or anywhere.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they record it. They have to record the data, and these people that are getting these contracts with these cooperative purchases, they don't realize it, that there's somebody like me who's out there just mining through the data and finding the shit. And like, because to me, that's all data is shit of a business. It's a business's shit.
Oh, yeah.
And you can find out a lot of things about a business through, like a human through its shit, like what you're eating and are you using drugs and all this other stuff. So, yeah, same thing with that.
You can find some pretty shady shit out there.
Yeah, you can. There is some stuff. Yeah. So how did you land here at the Burbity workspaces?
So I was actually desk passing at the time when I first moved back out here. I was looking at offices, stuff like that through Desk Pass. And
What's Desk Pass?
It's a co-working platform that you can rent desks for a day for different co-working spaces throughout the U.S., Canada, Mexico. They're all over the world. But I found Burbity primarily here in the Spokane Valley because they were actually the only one listed on here in the Spokane Valley. But I found them and I was like, holy crap, staff here are great. Good space to be in, really fast internet. And I was like, and there's other people here. I need to be around people. I was like, this is my place.
Gotcha.
Fell in love once I found the right place to be at. And thankfully, I have my office here, and now I spend 60 hours a week sometimes here, either doing my own stuff or doing stuff for other people. So it's fun. But they're a really, really good workspace, stuff like that, and they're a really good team here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I want to get some jiu-jitsu mats and start rolling jiu-jitsu with people on Friday. There's plenty of open space out there.
Oh, after 5 o'clock, you definitely could probably do that because there's nobody here.
Nobody here. It's fun. It's fun to roll jiu-jitsu with people and try to grapple and whatnot. And it's always fun, man. It's a great time. Yeah. So that's cool. You've been very successful up to this point, starting off in Wisconsin, just working the local businesses and saying, "Hey, I'm Nathan with, was it ITEC at the time?" Or?
It was WSK 12 at the time before we rebranded.
Whiskey 12. So you're just knocking on doors. Hey, I'm here for all your Microsoft 365 solutions. And then they're like, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then they started paying you, and then you started getting a clientele base. And then from that point, you joined the Army. And you're still in. When are you getting out?
Contract is up next January.
Okay. What are you going to do?
Probably just go on the IRR list and stay there until...
Just be a nasty, heinous civilian and smoke marijuana?
Nope, won't be doing that one.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, still working jobs that do that, but I don't care about the drug test portion. I won't be doing that part.
Yeah. So that's cool. So you don't want to pursue being an infantryman in the Army?
Yes, it'd be fun, but at the same time, I don't think I would make it through infantry school.
You could be an 11 Charlie. That's what I was. That's the Marine equivalent.
Yep, I think it's 11 Bravo for the Army.
Well, I was 11 Charlie, which is mortarman.
So you blew shit up.
Well, I dropped the mortar out. Yeah, that was one of the 5 MOSs I had. So,
okay.
But yeah, it's fun. So, so talk about that. Like, what your time moving from, like, going where? How often do you drill?
Once a month up in Libby.
Libby?
Yes, I'm at the National Guard unit up there.
Where's Libby?
Montana.
Oh, in Libby, Montana? Do you drive all the way to Libby?
Unfortunately. Looking for a National Guard transfer down here right now. And should hopefully have one within the next month or two.
Yeah, it would probably seem like it would be a better way. But, I guess you only got 7 more.
We were waiting on a command sign-off. We just had to change the command within the last few months. So we have to wait for command sign-off, stuff like that.
Yeah. You could go to Fairchild.
I don't think Fairchild has Army.
Oh. I know Yakima does. And yeah, but that'd be cool if you can get something.
That would be cool. Look into that, and then who knows, maybe I'll extend. Still have 7-8 months to make the decision, so something that's up in the air right now.
You could deploy.
We'll see when shit pops off.
Well, I'm sure there's isn't there reservist deployments that you could try to go on?
As right now, they really only have Germany, Japan, and Korea and Poland as right now. Is really all that they're doing. They have some in Qatar, some in... I know that they have PSYOPs in Qatar, but that's just PSYOPs in general. But they have different stuff all over the place. And that's something I've been looking into. It's just I have to find a slot. The big thing is finding a slot within my MOS and within the E3 rank. Because you have to have a specific slot for your MOS in order to deploy.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I feel you. I know that. Yeah. Damn. So what's with the, I guess the better question is, what other cybersecurity things do you think are interesting that's going on?
Russia.
That's
been a big one to pay attention to.
The whole war.
Yeah, that's been interesting, especially since I think Ukraine just hacked into a Russian system within the last few weeks, and they've just been taking all the data from them and been using it against them. It's great.
Yeah, that's exciting. So just watching how it works, and I've been watching like the firefights online. It's almost sick how it's just entertainment, in like for me.
Or how Russian, so you know how if a U.S. service member is on a mission, they're not allowed to have their phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Russian service members have been having their phones with them, using the data, boop, drop a bomb, and if it doesn't hit, just hit it somewhere else. Social media is a great thing nowadays. That's
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. In fact, that's how Russia lost like a high number of its generals instantly, is because of their corruption and all that other crap. But they were doing that. They were easily hacked by the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians certainly out-hacked the Russians, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And watching that war unfold in the world of cyberspace.
I remember in November of 2021, I think, when UKG Kronos got hacked by the Russian government. That was a fun one. And not even 4 months later, Ukraine popped off. That was interesting. That was a big thing in cybersecurity as well, because you've heard of UKG Kronos, correct?
No.
They are a time and attendance keeping company that
A primary attendance?
time and attendance
Time and attendance.
and scheduling and all that stuff that a lot of companies use for and payroll stuff like that. They got hacked with this thing called Kronos Private Cloud got hacked by the Russians.
Huh.
And social security numbers got stolen, stuff like that because of it. I was one of the people affected by that. And it's crazy stuff because it shows you how vulnerable systems can be, especially when they find out these vulnerable things. That's another thing I've been paying attention to with cybersecurity as well, seeing who gets hacked.
Yeah. Who gets hacked? That's another thing. Like, so what do you do? What do you do if you get hacked?
Fortunately, it's trying to figure out how bad the damage is and trying to prevent it and try to mitigate the spread. I think, Louisiana just had their driver's license system hacked just had a data breach within the last 6 months, I think.
Damn.
Yeah. There's data breaches and hacking is a big thing. It's trying to mitigate what happens and reaching out to, proper companies to do cleanup and notifying people that their information has been compromised. Certain companies know who I'm talking about because they have not disclosed. There's been certain companies that have not disclosed that they've been hacked. And they need to disclose it. Or they take forever to disclose it.
Yeah, I get those in the mail, and it's like, what's going on? Oh, fucking spam. To me, it's at this point, it feels like it's spam. It's like, we want you to know the VA was hacked. It's like, oh, okay, thank you. So...
Or those emails that the VA sends you every other day. Oh, you may be eligible for VA benefits. Once you're in, you're always in.
Oh, yeah, dude. That now you're making me think if other people were using my shit, and that's why I kept getting more of those. You never know. I know that was a fiasco. That's such a fiasco, the Spokane VA thing, that it is a whole dedicated tab on the Spokesman Review webpage.
I'll definitely have to look into this now.
Yeah, no, it was bad. I'm actually lucky I dodged a bullet because I was looking into being an IT guy working there.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the guys there, the writing was on the wall. I spent time with them, and they're like, dude, you don't want to be right now. You should go because we're switching over these new systems. And yeah, I'm like, okay. And they're like, we think this is going to be a high probability of failure. And turns out it was.
I was actually talking to somebody at the Signal Brigade when I was at Farmcoy. I was looking at taking a GS job out there, and they're like, yeah, don't do it until after the system deployment is or until after the rollover is done, because the Army didn't roll over from Windows 7 to Windows 10 until 2023
Isn't
or 2022.
That some shit?
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Took that long to roll over from an old OS, but no, it was only certain units too. The rest of the Army was already deployed, but it was that specific unit was like, oh no, we're going to stay with this for a while. And they were like, yeah, don't get a job here till after it's done because we don't know the shit show that's going to happen. By the sounds of it, it was just a total shit show.
Damn, dude.
Sounds like IT in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That I wouldn't want to deal with that. So let's go back to Amazon. So you started off as a grunt, box kicker, and then how did you? What did you do from there?
I was part of their IT technician program for the 6 months from October 2022 to April of 2023, and then from there I actually started working my own business. Amazon, they want you to stay there the whole time, but they give you the options not to. That's why they have so many of their programs in place. And from there I just started doing my own thing. That's when I started expanding stuff like that, and just started doing my own thing with my business, stuff like that. That's when we really took off. And well, I'm been back 3 or 4 times, but that's because of benefits, health insurance, and stuff like that. But it's like they're fun to work with if you're actually willing to put in the work. But yeah, no, it's been fun.
Cool. So you started off purely service, and you didn't need to get any financing, or did you need to get financing to get your business started?
Mine was saving money.
Yeah.
I've been saving money since my first job when I first turned 16, and just working up from there. Just keeping that, is just make sure that I had that net in place to protect myself, stuff like that.
Smart. That's the way to do it. Saving money and reinvesting it into making things good. Yeah, there's some people that have some different ideas on how to get money, but it's a unique thing. But how do you get your clients?
Indeed's the big one.
Indeed.
Looking through looking through what companies, looking for IT help. Another big one.
So you just call them up as like a consultant?
Messaging on Indeed, is it becoming ads? Putting ads out there.
Okay, tell me more. I don't know. I'm new to this. I'm always down to learn
tips and tricks. Indeed is looking around who's looking for a contract. He's looking around for who has contracting positions open. So if a company has a contract open right now, has like a contract job for like 6 months, something like that, looking at seeing what they need done. And then another one is LinkedIn as well.
Okay, so LinkedIn
you could put a ad on LinkedIn that says, hey, our company does this, and it can get shared with like a specific group of people that you point it to. So point the ad towards that person, and there you go. You can sometimes get some business off of that. But looking in the professional networking space, figuring out who needs help, what they need help with, and just reaching out is a big thing. And then I've had people reach out to me because they know of the work I've done, hearing from other people, word of mouth, stuff like that. Working on my website right now. That's been at the bottom of my list though, since I just have not really thought about it. But they know how to get a hold of me because they have my business email, stuff like that. So the big thing is newsletters as well. Sending out newsletters to people that have signed up so that way they know what you offer, stuff like that.
Okay, so your LinkedIn presence and Indeed. Interesting. I didn't. So you go to Indeed and what do you type in?
Information technology contracting.
Okay.
So then it can give me like some contracting jobs
Never
available.
Even thought of that.
So this is like stuff I do off to the side just to make extra money, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But it helps me grow my credibility.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, this is cool. Keep telling me. So like you type in information technology contracting, and then
contract.
Do you generalize it to any specific area, or are you looking nationwide?
Nationwide, mostly remote.
How many of these do you think are fake?
Good 30% at least.
Dude, I gave up on Indeed. I mean, at one point it was doing me good, and then like getting me, real stuff, and then I started realizing, there's a lot of these are fake jobs.
Oh yeah, anybody can go on there and post anything.
Yeah.
The big thing is Google as well. Looking on Google, seeing what companies are looking for contract IT positions, contract IT managers, even the low-level help desk. That's how I started out. So that's how I started out getting my foot in the door and getting my resume built, is just looking around, seeing what there is out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a unique way to put it. I gave up doing that.
It's crazy. There's a lot of scams out there now.
Oh, I figured I gave up the day I realized I can take one YouTube video and get it in front of thousands of people, but I can't get one resume in front of one hiring manager. Like, this is a waste of my damn time. I would rather make YouTube videos.
That's AI for you as well. There's AI filtering those resumes nowadays.
Yeah.
Looking for keywords.
Yeah. It's like, it's a fucking gamble, because here I am, like, putting my heart and soul into this cover letter and resume, and it just, and nobody cares. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't get in front of anyone. So you do LinkedIn ads. How do LinkedIn ads work?
You have to reach out to Microsoft for that one. So LinkedIn ads, you have to reach out to Microsoft, and you have to, I guess, get approved through them as a approved advertiser. And then you go into Microsoft's proprietary advertising suite, and you can create your ad, create who you want to target, and create what you want to put out there, and then you push it, and then you pay like a couple $100 a month or something like that. It's like Google Ads. Like, I could theoretically right now, I could go sign up and like point an ad at you for my technology consulting on like YouTube or something like that. It's actually really cool. It's built in with a lot of different platforms. So using their proprietary information to point somebody at LinkedIn, and then getting that to be pointed at the specific group that I want, and then those people usually click on the ad, read it, and then they usually reach out to you and get more information.
So what is your return on leads?
For about one ad, I can get about 5 or 10 people.
Really?
That's pointed at about 5,000 people though.
Well, that's pretty good. So how much is how much is LinkedIn ads per month?
Depends.
Okay, so it depends. What are these variables? What are these variable costs?
Where you're advertising at, who you're advertising towards, if you want it to be a general group or just a specific group of people. It's all over the place. But I could theoretically run an ad for 3 days right now. It'd probably be $50.
Really? Oh, shit. That's pretty damn good.
That's for just 3 days, though.
But in those 3 days, you have 15 leads.
No. So my 15 leads could be for a month long. For 3 days, I could probably get 1 or 2 people.
Oh.
So, but still, that 1 or 2 people can generate 2,000-3,000, depending on the project, stuff like that, per person.
Okay, so for $50, running an ad for 3 days would yield 2 leads.
Theoretically, it depends on if the problem is I don't include all the leads. I only include the real leads in that number, because I could get 30 leads, but the problem is scammers that are on there just reaching out to people, just trying to waste people's time. That's unfortunately how it goes. So really, the number varies, but I'm usually getting 1 to 2 leads per ad I run. Real leads, real verifiable, I know will be actual client leads.
That's awesome. So LinkedIn, I mean, it seems like you sold me on that over YouTube or Facebook ads.
Facebook ads, I've played around with a little bit. I don't like Facebook's ad manager platform. It's not the best. YouTube, I'm debating getting into, but LinkedIn can be fun. It can be a fun one, but the problem is LinkedIn Premium get rid of those ads. LinkedIn has LinkedIn Premium to where the ads don't show up for people that have Premium.
Got you.
So depends on if the person doesn't have LinkedIn Premium, then they'll see your ads. But the problem is Microsoft's starting to push LinkedIn Premium a lot now. So I feel like that's probably going to be going away soon.
The LinkedIn ads?
Yes.
Because they think they can generate more money by getting people LinkedIn Premium?
Because you can see who's searching you and stuff like that way. You can see who's searching you. Microsoft has their own trainings and stuff like that on there called LinkedIn Learning. There's lots of different stuff that Microsoft's trying to sell. It's all a money game.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure it out. Have you used Google Business Profile?
Been working on that one. Played around with it a little bit. I was actually working on it for a little bit today. Since we started moving back over to Google. So
yeah, that's an important one to use, because when you pay it content in the form of weekly updates, it returns you leads in the form of phone calls.
Good to know.
Yeah, I learned that. Yeah, that's the only one I really work on. I took my dad's cabinet business and made him get more leads.
Nice.
Like, I mean, he was paying money to some company to manage his freaking website and SEO and shit. He was paying $200 a month. I'm like, just make a Google Business Profile and update it with the photos, and then you'll eventually rank higher on Google because they reward you content for leads.
Definitely. And Google, if you have the right stuff, they will push it more. It's all an algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of Data Axle?
I've not heard of them.
Data Axle is really cool. It's through the library, and it gives you a list of, so like one of those things, like if you get a library card, all your info is there. And plus it gives you access to all these databases for certain companies. So it'll give you, you can get Excel list of, and the numbers of all the companies here in Spokane or whatever city you want that have a certain income and all these other factors that you think you would want to target.
Now that is what I call really good information.
Yeah, and it's free, and you can get that through the Spokane County Library.
Interesting.
Yeah, Data Axle.
Interesting.
Yeah, I always have that tab open on my computer, so yeah. So talk about your plans for the future.
Definitely working on growing. I'm actually bringing on my first employee starting Thursday to help me with some logistics stuff that we're working on. I'm currently working on right now, getting a few contracts for device vendors, because I would like to start offering procurement and device setup. That's something I've been working on for a little bit, is getting us in a place to where we can start procuring devices for companies and getting them their devices ordered. So helping bring the overall MSP experience and working towards that.
Can you do a honeypot?
I'll have to look into that one.
Have you heard of those?
No.
The honeypots? Because you can do a DDoS.
Yes. I don't think I've heard of that one yet.
Yeah, the honeypot. It was new to me too.
Huh.
This guy was presenting it at this thing I was at. Yeah, but I guess it scans all the devices. It tries to connect with all the devices or something like that. Or it's like it sets up like a fake Wi-Fi router that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, having like a fake Wi-Fi. So like Walmart Wi-Fi, for example. Walmart Wi-Fi used to be free. Now you're required to sign into it. That right there is a way that you can go in and get into everybody's information, because it drops malware on them. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. This guy he made that. It was we were at the AI. It was at an AI get together, but I thought that was sexier because it wasn't machine learning. It was just that.
That's what I call data mining to an extreme. Just going in and doing something like that. But that's like highly illegal stuff. I feel like that's something that hackers would do. Oh, wait, I think it's already been done.
Hold on. I'm glad you brought that up. You think it's illegal?
So taking something like that and going in, dropping it in like a big business, stuff like that could be something that's illegal because you could be infiltrating their networks.
Yes. However, if you are the business, you can set one up.
You could set one up and
you can do that. And you can mine all the customer data. And Walmart does that. And they have a right to.
Yes,
because
they
they
do.
have a right to defend themselves, because you're bringing a device onto their premise and they have to protect themselves from their stakeholders and their shareholders and customers. And they're doing that. So if you don't want your device to get scraped, don't bring it into Walmart.
Yeah.
Because that's going to happen. Every major box store does this. These are major data mining operations. So that's one thing you could consider doing as offering as a service to customers.
That would actually be really good.
Yeah. Like, I'd be like, hey, I bet you want to know, like, how do your customers, how do they do this? Or what is their purchasing behavior and this and that and the other? Like, you can get it directly from their phones.
Or what websites are they going on while they're in the store? What they're looking up.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a right. Yeah. What are they looking up? What ports are they trying to access? You know, you have Wi-Fi that's offered here for free that everyone can connect to, but like you gotta figure it out. But that's a cool thing that I think you should offer as a service.
That's definitely something I'm going to look into. I'm pretty sure Amazon does it right now to their employees.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. There's probably so much stuff. Walmart tries to, in Walmart's thing, they say on their data privacy, they say they'll try to get from devices you have in your house. They're trying to scrape your shit from your smart TV. So as much as they can.
What do you think that On Brand is?
Oh, yeah. 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 Well, here's the thing. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are the largest data marts in the world. Because people don't realize that, but when you go to get you a free credit check, like you're giving them everything and they're selling it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To people. It's the first subscription fees, and yeah, and so that's cool. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'll be looking into. I'm actually gonna probably play around with that tonight. Now that you bring it up, looking how to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just simple things that everything's a tool, right?
Yeah.
Like the honey pot or whatever the hell you call it. That's a tool, and you can use it for good or bad. It's like the wood chipper. It can use it for wood or bodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like different programs like Cisco and Meraki. There you go. You can track the device and you can track where they're going. There's one program you can use now for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that, like those GPS thingies, those GPS drop tabs that they like stick under bike seats and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
No, Meraki is Cisco's network filtering is Cisco's network. Is Cisco's new network platform.
Oh, okay.
But that's what all these companies are using, I'm pretty sure, to do that stuff. Is they're probably using their data from Meraki and stuff like that and going in and looking at what's being done.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Meraki. Yeah, they're getting the data somewhere. I think that data aggregation is a good service.
Definitely.
Data aggregation as a service is something that people can offer. And I wish people would offer more of it, because then data miners like me would be more useful.
Oh, yeah.
But as of now, I gotta find customer data on other things. But we're at hour 20. So let's do a couple more questions. What does an average week look like in the day, or average week in the day of life of Nathan?
God, waking up 5 a.m., depending on what time I actually have to get started that day, coming into the office, sitting down at my computer, checking emails, jumping on a couple meetings and stuff like that. food is for the weak. So working, caffeine, lots and lots of coffee, but trying to, I guess, find that next customer, reaching out or sending emails, fixing issues that have happened with previous projects. Because actually, I just got done fixing a port somebody closed for their VPN that they deleted on accident. Fixing problems and then doing deployments. I just got done messing with somebody's VMware Workspace ONE, doing that deployment for them. So it really just depends on the day and what I have on the calendar for the week. But it's usually just coming in, getting started, and not stopping until I feel like I've accomplished what I need to accomplish.
How much of your time is spent fixing previous things or tending to that?
Some of the time, but depends on if it was done. A lot of the times I'm just fixing something that a customer does. I've had customers close ports on their VPNs that I've deployed for them, or fixing a network issue for somebody that they've messed up some sort of configuration and I have to change it back. So probably 2-3 hours a week I'm spending time on that. But it also depends on the issue, because I could be spending 2 days on it, depending on what really happens.
So what are you trying? What's your big goal for the future?
My big thing is I want to get some more certifications. I hold some of the Microsoft certifications right now. I want to start going for the Cisco certifications, and just growing my business in general, and possibly holding some government contracts at some point. I definitely do want to hold some of those, because that would definitely get my name out there, being a contractor.
Yeah.
Especially holding contracts with the DoD. Those are big contracts to hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And they definitely need help. That's for sure.
And the great thing is, once you have a security clearance, once you're in the system, you're always in the system. They just have to rerun you. That's all you got to do.
Score. So you could be a great contractor.
Definitely. You could be too, since you've had one at some point.
Oh, yeah. At some point I did. Years ago, I had a security clearance.
They just they just make sure that nothing's changed.
Yep.
They just go do a few checks and then you're good. That's big money right there then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, security checks and whatnot. So that would be cool. So do you have any book suggestions?
If you're just starting out, definitely the A+ certification book, the certification exam prep book from McGraw-Hill. That's a big one if you're just starting out. I recommend reading that, so that way you can get some information. Then it's a hacking one I've read too. I can't remember the name of it, but definitely looking around, seeing what is in the field that you are interested in, and then getting into it.
How should a hacker dress?
I don't know. How should a hacker dress?
Yeah.
I think it's somebody with Cheeto-covered hands, or I don't know, to be honest with you.
Have you watched Mr. Robot?
I have not.
Oh, you gotta watch Mr. Robot. It's a good show. Oh, yeah, it's a good show. It's all about hacking, and it's pretty legit. Yeah, it's on USA. All right, cool. All right, so Nathan, I guess last but not least, where can people find you?
So reach out to me on Twitter. Our Twitter is, just let me confirm this real quickly.
Okay.
No, not that one. So our Twitter is at ITEC USINC. That's the best way to find us. And then I guess go onto our website, internationaledtechandconsulting.com would be another way to reach out to us. And that will be the best way to reach out and get a hold of us.
Cool. LinkedIn.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Nathaniel Witherow. So.
Okay. Cool. All right. You guys heard it. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I did. Be sure to like, subscribe, and smash that bell for more data-driven updates. Bye.